Welcome to the Steve and Bethany podcast.
It's your weekly dose of hope, encouragement, and a whole lot of fun.
All right, let's get to it. All right, welcome into the Hopecast. It's Steve and Bethany. Happy that you are joining us here. This is episode 1.
Yeah, we decided that last week's episode kind of served as like a pilot.
Right.
And
we were picked up
by
the network.
By ourselves.
That's right.
We are the network. And so this is going to serve as episode number 1.
So let's begin with a little bit of backtracking.
Yeah.
You and I have known each other for 3-4 years?
Going on 4 years.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We worked together in morning radio,
Yep.
and then we decided through no fault of our own, the band got broken up, but we
Right.
decided we wanted to get back together and do things kind of on our own terms, as well as not only that reason, but also to bring a little hope.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of podcasts are more, I don't know, like topical, and we don't really have anything that we're experts in. We don't really have anything to share.
That's true.
So we're just going to talk about real life. We're going to talk about things that are going on around the world, things that are going on in our lives, have some fun, and yeah, like you said, just bring some hope into everyday life.
And I think the main thing we want to do is to be able to point to the hope that we have,
Right.
that we share together in Christ. Now, look, this is not some kind of thing where you have to be a Christian or on some kind of faith journey to join us. I mean, we don't have a super secret handshake or anything.
Nope.
But
It's
we
a
do.
fist bump. That's all it is.
We
Yeah.
do, but we do want to bring to you what makes it in our lives, why we feel like we have something to share,
Right.
and that's bigger and greater than anything we usually go through or
Right.
can go through in life. And so, and it's up to you. Obviously, we're not going to beat you over the head with a Bible or anything like that, but we're going to be able to just share what's on our hearts and from our perspective why hope really matters, and because I think it's really lacking in people's lives.
And I think, it is such a normal and active part of our lives, so we don't have a problem sharing it. But yeah, like you said, we're not going to just kind of preach at anybody,
No.
but we do want to share what we believe and why we believe it and all of that. But like for people that maybe don't know us,
Yeah.
I think we need to give some context as to who we are as people. You're married.
Yes.
You just celebrated actually your 22nd wedding anniversary.
I did, yes, over the weekend.
Yeah.
As we're taping this was my 22nd wedding anniversary, and that's going to be kind of a theme of what we're going to be talking about today: hope and marriage.
We're going to talk to Jana, his wife, later. But yeah, so you're married to Jana. You got 3 kids. Tell about your tax deductions.
Okay, I've got this is my life. I
Yeah.
have got a freshman in college. I've got a freshman in high school, and I've got a kindergartner. And they're all biological children. Because sometimes when you hear that,
Right.
you're so sweet. You adopted? That's so wonderful. Nope, we did not adopt. And it's been quite a ride. It's been fun, but which wouldn't trade it for anything. But it was. I've told this story, especially since the youngest one, Brett, just turned 6 a couple of days ago as we were taping this. And I even made this quote to my wife before he came along. It was like, we're in such a neat stage of life, where our kids are getting up older. Tyler was like about 13. Amber was 10-ish, something like that. And, they don't need us as much. It's not like they're so dependent. Yeah. And so it's a cool area of life, and we kind of get to kind of pull back a little bit maybe from parenting and just kind of encourage what they're doing, encourage who they are, find out what their strengths are, and just kind of watch that happen, watch it develop. Then the roller coaster. Then it didn't just out of nowhere. The roller coaster just went zoom.
Yeah.
And we had baby number 3, but
the
we
thing
wouldn't
is,
trade
though, with Brett, the third one, he's provided me, at least, with so much fun, like so many laughs, because you come to work with stories out the wazoo. So that's always been fun.
Well, actually, I actually have one. If we could take a little bit of a side real quick.
for it.
Okay, it was his birthday, and we had his party. Now, Jana, my wife, who we'll meet later, she is all about cakes. She's very talented. She makes the
she
cakes.
made this, which for our video subscribers that get the video content, you can see this is like kind of a little art piece that she made. She's so talented.
It really is. And if you join Patreon, you will get one of these for your own self. So there you go.
Slide in. Yeah.
So anyway, Brett was turning 6. So Jana was like, well, I want to make a cake, but our oven's been giving her problems. She doesn't trust it right now. And so she's going to buy a cake. She had to bite the bullet. She didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So we do it, the whole thing, get the frosting. She decorates the whole thing. Everything's fine. Day later, we're just doing our own little thing. Everybody quarantined, doing our own little things. Brett is the picture of this. He is in the recliner, okay, earbuds in, watching YouTube on the iPad, and he's all sprawled out in the recliner with the frosting. These two fingers, just like this, just scooping it right in, just right into his mouth. And I look over at him like, well, you can't do that.
He's living the life.
And he's like, why? And it took me a couple of minutes to go, well, you just can't.
Because I'm your dad.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, what is the right answer? I don't even know what the right answer to that is, but I was like, you just can't. That's just not
I'm a little sympathetic towards him because there may or may not be pictures of me as a 4-year-old doing the exact same thing with a knife. My grandma got on to me about it. She was like, you can't be doing it. I asked her the same question. I said, why not?
And she was probably stumped too.
I was using a utensil, so I did kind of have one up on Brett. I wasn't using my fingers.
Well, he was going the first two fingers, scooping it in, all in, yeah.
That's how you got to mark your territory with frosting, though. Put your hand in it.
I guess so. But yeah, so that's the way his weekend wound up after his 6th birthday. But I know your family, you guys have got some crazy things going on now.
Yeah. So I'm married to my husband, Cody. We've been married a little over a year and a half now. And we have a dog, Gus. He's a miniature dachshund. Very, very cute. Awesome. So it's just us. But that's going to change in this upcoming week because...
Oh, is it?
Yes. Because my parents sold their house. They wanted to be a little bit closer to us, and so they're moving more towards our way. But they sold their house in like a day, and so they're closing on their house, and they're moving in with us, which is great, you know? My parents, we get along all well. That's all happening. Then my brother and my sister-in-law who live up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, they decided that they wanted to be closer to family, so they're moving down here as well. And they sold their house like freakishly quickly. Like it was strange how fast it happened, but they sold their house really, really fast. And they kind of were like, well, we need a place to live. So they said, hey, you guys have a house and an extra bedroom. Like, can we live? So they're going to be moving in with us as well in, I think about probably, what is it? Like 4 weeks now, 4 weeks, something like that. So it will be my parents, my mom and dad, my brother Aaron, my sister-in-law Heidi, their baby, my nephew Rhett, and then their dog, who's a schnauzer named Watson. They're all going to be living with us.
So how many people is that? You got any scorecard?
6 adults, a baby, and 2 dogs. That's where we're at. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you say that now.
I say that now.
You say that now.
I will keep you posted on my level of sanity.
It's going to drive your husband to drinking.
Oh, man, he's actually okay with it. He really is. And I asked him, I said, you will not hurt my feelings. Are you okay with this? And he is. He just said, I'm just worried about how the dogs are going to do together, you know, all that. But I don't know.
How is the bedroom situation going to work?
Well, we have 2 guest rooms.
Okay, so you have 2. Okay.
We have one that we actually set up for guests because we were like, we don't really have it. You know, when we bought our house, we weren't preparing to have 4 additional people in our home. But so we have one that's done and then one that's not. So my parents are moving their furniture, some of their furniture, into our house this weekend. So they have a place to sleep, and they're going to be staying in there. And then one of my friends is coming from out of town sometime mid-May, so she's going to be hanging out, sleeping on the couch. So yeah, it'll be fun.
It's going to be like college life, like a frat house.
Seriously, like I thought about this. I was like, we're going to have laundry days, like a schedule of like everybody's laundry. How are we going to divvy up groceries?
Well, okay, there you go. Divvy up groceries.
Into my head.
That just popped in my head too, because my son is 19, the oldest one, or he's not quite 19. He'll be he's a freshman in college, and he came home from college now with all the Corona stuff,
right?
And so he's been living at home, and now all of a sudden he's got this whole territorial stuff. Like, this is my milk, this is my this is my that. I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's not.
That's the college showing, though. You have to put your name on everything, or otherwise it gets eaten.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing: he's not buying it. I'm buying it. You know,
okay,
and it's like, no, this is not yours.
Here's what you do: get a label maker. Go around and just put Steve on everything.
That's what you're going to have to do with your situation.
Probably. I did kind of figure out a little bit of a I don't know, situation with my brother, because my older brother's a chef. And so I told him, I said, since you guys will be living in our home rent free, my only request is that you cook every night. And he's happy to do that.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to kind of have like a personal chef at my disposal.
I would love that. We need to bring him on the podcast.
Ooh,
we need to have him cook
idea.
something for us.
Yeah, he should cook something.
Or we could have some kind of challenge, some kind of cooking challenge.
Like Chopped? He said that he would never go on that show.
No, not Chopped. I just mean something like, you know, who makes the best what? You know, some kind of something.
Okay.
Maybe we can have some of our people on Patreon.
Oh, that's a good idea. Something like that.
decide
Just don't
what
pit me
we're
up
gonna-
against him because that's
Yeah,
not
I don't.
gonna
Or
go
maybe
well.
he could be the judge. Maybe it'd
He
be
should
me
be a
against
judge.
you. You know?
Maybe it should be me and you.
Yeah.
We like have a little cooking competition. We'll
That's what I
figure
mean.
it out.
Yeah, we'll
I
do
don't
something.
know.
We'll
but
do something like
that's
that.
how we're handling like paying rent or something. Is just he is gonna cook for
Yeah.
us. That's
And
the
and
plan.
does he have any job prospects when he moves down here?
Not right now because again with all the corona stuff.
that's
it's
right.
been
Everything's
so,
closed, yeah.
So it's been hard for him to kind of job search, but he's hoping to have some kind of instructor position at something.
Nice.
The job that he has right now up in Minneapolis, he's an instructor at a culinary place, and so he really likes teaching
Really?
cooking classes more than being in a restaurant. I think.
He could teach me.
Oh, you could be
That
his
would
little
be great.
protege.
Yes.
Well, I
I
think
could be his sous chef.
I like this. That's a good idea. But he got burned out on restaurants after
Did he?
they
Okay.
after they had their baby. The job that he was at, he was working 90 hours a week, and it just wasn't feasible.
Well, now that you say that, I remember as a kid in college, one of the things I kind of liked, I've always liked cooking, is kind of a creative outlet for me. But then I got to thinking, okay, if I do go into that field, it's nights, every night. And if you're going to have a family, it's going to be hard.
That was the kind of the thing, because he said it's one thing if I'm a bachelor and it's just me, I don't mind working that much. But he's like, listen, I got a newborn, I got a wife, like I can't be working crazy hours. So he stuck it out for a while, and then this other job came along that he really enjoys, and he kind of discovered his love for teaching, and so he's hoping to get a job like that down here.
Well, very cool.
We'll see.
And then also just kind of put a bow on this, talking about us as people.
We're gonna knock this over.
I know, but it's very nice.
The little art piece that we have here.
Just to kind of, I guess, go back. We've already kind of, I guess, covered this, but you and I we're not married.
Yes.
We're not to each other.
Yeah.
We're not husband and wife. We're not father and daughter. We're not.
You almost call me your son. You almost
Yeah.
said
Well,
father and
almost.
son.
Well, whatever.
We're not cousins. We're not related in any way that we are aware of.
No, we are not.
Yeah.
But we are from two different generations. I'm a Gen Xer. You're the millennial, and so that for so many, I think people would hear about this and hear these two generations usually don't get along.
Right.
They really, you look at us as being old and out of touch and can't handle anything, can't do technology. see, look, you're laughing because you know it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
But here's the thing. I mean, our friendship has kind of hit it off from almost day one, and I think we bring a unique perspective to different things in life, and we see things differently from not only male female the way that works, but also from.
Well, and that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to start the podcast is just because we get along so well, where we were like, even though we're not doing mornings together anymore, I miss working with you. This is fun. It's a fun thing to do. And so that was a big reason for doing the podcast.
And let's circle back to our main topic today about hope and marriage. And marriage is a lovely institution, but who wants to live in an institution? No, that's an old joke. That's an old joke. But no, yeah.
There you go.
Well, if we had we got to get
that was rim shot. I hit the
no,
wrong
we don't
button.
have the rim shot in there yet.
Oh.
But I think when we start talking about hope and marriage, I think there's so many people who go into marriages not looking at the long term. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of kids, and I say kids, I'm talking about your generation mainly, but I would think that it seems like, you tell me what you see as being somebody from a millennial. I think that a lot of times it's marriages is looked at as almost temporary kind of by the generation, saying, if it doesn't work out, it's cool. We don't even have to really get married. We can just hang out and live together or whatever, and just kind of do life together like that. But I just don't think, I know that you just don't have the same depth of commitment and intimacy and all the other stuff when you go that route.
Well, yeah, and I think alongside that, kind of social media and maybe Pinterest or other things like that, they've put so much emphasis on the wedding.
Yeah.
And that's become the focus of
Bridezilla.
that's why you get married.
Yeah.
It's just so you can have a wedding. And there's more emphasis on having the wedding and the celebration than a marriage. And I'll say, I wasn't one of those girls that grew up dreaming about her wedding. That was just not me. I didn't think anything about it really. And so after I got engaged, I was like, well, man, what do I want? What do I want my wedding to look like? I haven't thought about this.
Right.
But that was something that I thought was kind of, I I don't know, a little bit challenging because once you get into the wedding planning, it's fun. You enjoy it. There's a lot of cool things, and it's always fun to talk about and plan out different things. But it's always good to have people alongside you that can kind of remind you of, well, listen, again,
Right.
that's not what this is about. Marriage is awesome and fun, and the wedding is a big part of that, and it's really great. It's a wonderful day, but it's still one day. And your whole marriage is ahead of you, and so focus on putting in the work there.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people miss the forest for the trees,
Right.
you know, because it is such an all-encompassing event, that the actual wedding ceremony. And one of the things with everything with COVID-19 happening, making people not being able to have those ceremonies,
Yeah.
I actually saw someone who did a Zoom marriage where it was
Wow.
her and her husband or fiance. You know, they said their vows to one another, and all their friends from all over the country were watching in on Zoom. And she even made that point, saying, you know, you get in that bubble to where it's all about, you know, the sparkle and the pizzazz and the elegance and the making a night to remember and the whole thing. And you lose sight of the most important thing we're doing is committing to one another here today.
Well, and I would say probably like 3 or 4 of my friends have all had to postpone their wedding in some way,
Really?
shape, or form. Yeah. And all of them have decided to just go ahead and get married. So they just went down to the courthouse with their parents and just, you know, got there, maybe 1 or 2 friends, and went ahead and got married. And I have to give them props because I think that's so smart, just to go ahead and get to the best part, which is marriage. It's being able to do life together every day. And, you know, even though I'm sure I can't even imagine what it would be like to have to, you know, postpone your wedding like that and cancel different things, I think it's great to just not push it off any longer, you know, getting married. Just being able to just say, no, we're going to go ahead and commit our lives to each other now. And then as soon as all this is over, we're going to put energy into, you know, having the party or the reception or whatever.
Well, let me ask you about this, because you're closer to being a newlywed than I am, obviously.
Yes, much closer.
So when you're coming together, 2 people that have fallen in love, and you're ready to commit your lives to one another. Now all of a sudden you go through the glimmer and the glam.
There you go.
Glam. Glam. See,
I told
knew
you
I
we
knew
were
it.
gonna knock this over.
Okay,
It's
so-
laying down. We're moving our art piece.
So we would have the glimmer and the glam and the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Now all of a sudden you've got 2 people living in the same house together. So what kind of struggle, what kind of adjustment was that for you?
Honestly, it wasn't a huge one. Everybody was telling us before we got married, oh, you guys are going to just wait till you start living together. All these things are going to come out. From my perspective, I don't know, Cody may have a different answer, but but really it wasn't a big deal learning how to live together. It just felt very normal, just like, oh yeah, well, we've always done this. Like it just felt natural, I guess. The only thing that was a little bit of a challenge is that Cody has the tendency to leave his Sprite cans all over the house. Cody loves Sprite. It's his favorite drink. But he'll do this thing where he'll take like 2 sips and then put it on his nightstand or, you know, put it on the coffee table or something like that. So by the end of the day, but he doesn't finish any of the cans. So
It's
by
like
the
living
end,
with my kids.
Exactly. So by the end of the day, there's like 15 Sprite cans just scattered throughout the house. And I'm kind of like, you haven't finished any of these. They're still cold. They're still like full. What's going on here? That's the only thing that I've had to kind of just let him handle it.
Yeah, because I think that could cause some conflict right there.
Well,
you know?
yeah. And I did think one of the best pieces of advice that I got before I got married was from my aunt. And she told me, she said, you just always need to remember this. Your husband is not a child. There may be times where you feel like he is, but he's not. He is a grown adult. You need to treat him like one. And so with the Sprite cans, that's been something that I have to remind myself of, like, he'll take care of it. He'll clean this up. I don't have to nag him and mother him about this. It's his thing.
Well, see, I think that's something a lot of people don't get very often. They have to go through those fires
Right.
of frustration because it bothers me, but obviously it's not bothering him.
Yeah.
But it should be bothering him, that kind of thing.
Maybe that's the thing. I did learn that men and women have different ideas of what clean is. Like, you know what I mean? Like a clean house. It's my perception of it is different than his. Are you and Jana that way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are times where it's the same kind of thing where Jana won't do something that I think, well, why isn't she doing that? You know? And then I got to take a step back and remember, okay, well, maybe if I need it done so bad, maybe I ought to do it. You know, if it's bothering me, because it's really not bothering her. so maybe I ought to do it. And I think that sometimes leads to, well, I do everything, that kind of pity party kind of attitude. But I think the most part is it just goes back to what marriage is based on, communication. If it's bothering you and you approach it the right way, not from, you used the term nagging earlier, and you don't approach it from that way, but you approach it from, hey, you know what, this is bothering me that you're doing this, and I know it shouldn't, but it is. Most of the time, if you handle it that way, the response is so much better from the other person.
Well, I think too, something my parents have always kind of shown in their marriage, how they communicate, is that they try not to use the words like never or always, like you never do this or you always do this, trying to take away those words, because that's not true, for one. And you need to just be kind of sensitive for the other person of, okay, maybe this doesn't bother them, it bothers me, but let's find a way to kind of figure this out peacefully without bringing in the big guns of never and always.
Right. Well, yeah,
that stuff.
That's really good. And I think jumping on that too is when you start using that kind of language, never and always and you this and all that, I think that tends to take the conversation and turn it, instead of being towards, hey, let's figure this out, turns it to us against them or me against you kind of thing.
Accusing and
and I think the best way to handle that is to realize that you're being selfish. I mean, when it really gets down to it.
Well, you told me that before I got married. You said don't be selfish. You'll be all right.
I think that really is true, though. I mean, it sounds simplistic, but when you've got two people that have make a commitment that they're not going to be selfish, it's going to be a lot better. I mean, we all have the tendency to do it, though. I mean, it's not that we're going to say, "Oh, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm never going to be selfish ever again." Well, that's a lie. You know, you're going to be.
Everybody's selfish,
right? At our core, I mean, it's our nature, But I think if you make that and learn, I guess who was it? Is it? I can't remember the guy's name, the marriage guy, but they talked about learning how to fight, and having some rules, that you don't, like you said, it's not always and never. Making sure those aren't part of the rules. You can't use those.
Well, I think a big part of it too is, like you said, don't be selfish. Just be willing to say you're sorry. Like,
honestly, that's a big one.
And that's a hard one for me. Cody is so much better at apologizing than I am. Like, he's much more humble in a lot of ways, willing just to be like, hey, I was wrong, or I was short with you, or whatever. He's much better at that than I am. But I think that's a huge part of it. Just saying like, hey, I messed up this time. I'm really sorry about that. And just having the humility to do that. A lot of conflict, I think, would end a lot sooner if somebody just said, genuinely, I'm sorry.
Right. Because I think a lot of times the guy will say, I'm sorry, and
just
not really
the conflict,
and not really mean it a whole lot of times, just because the old adage, happy wife, happy life, is true. It really is. And so if there's no conflict there, then everything's going to be fine. But if it's not heartfelt, then it's not going to work. Right. But I think we're getting around all this topic, but I really do think if somebody's looking for hope in marriage, I think the main thing to do is to make sure that you realize you're on the same team,
Your
to
partners.
Your partners. Yeah. I mean, as long as there's that security of, hey, I'm not going anywhere. We can discuss, we can argue, we can do whatever when something happens, but I'm not leaving, and there's so much freedom in that.
I think too, recognizing that you can still have a good marriage even if you're super different as people. Like, you don't have to agree on every single little thing. You don't have to just be copies of each other, because I think a lot of the times when you're different, that's the best, because they bring out different things in you and make you better as a person because they're different. So I think that's one thing I kind of had to get over maybe early in our marriage, is like, disagreeing about something isn't necessarily a bad thing. We're providing different opinions, different perspectives, and Cody brings out different things in me and reminds me of different things, and I do the same for him, and we kind of grow each other in that. It's like Rocky said this, gaps. We got no gaps when we're together. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, no,
it's being
is.
different, and that's okay, because you can fill each other's gaps.
I agree totally, and I think that's where you can find the hope in marriage, to be able to understand that there are these boundaries. And I don't want to say rules, because rules feel rigid and constrictive. But there are boundaries and guidelines. I think if you use those, it makes for a lot happier marriage. And again, it's not like we do this together perfectly, but it's something you have to work at all the time. But I think if you set those guidelines up and both people are a part of it and both people are buying into it, man, I think you're going to have a great marriage.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be perfect, and it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and the whole thing, but it's going to be a lot better.
And I think bringing in other people to help keep you accountable and remind you of why you want to stay dedicated to your marriage and why it's important and why you need to say that you're sorry and you need to be humble and not be selfish. Like, inviting other people in and reminding you of those things, I think are important as well.
Absolutely. I think so too. So having said all that, it's time now for me to kind of put my money where my mouth is on this.
Put yourself on the hot seat a little bit.
Because my wife, Jana, is joining us.
She is.
Via Skype, and we are going to talk to her about marriage, but we're gonna do some fun stuff.
We're gonna do the newlywed game, a little take on the newlywed game.
Yeah.
I have collected some questions.
Okay.
On my phone here. Here, grab a piece. Yeah, grab a piece of paper.
For the audio listeners, she's got a real piece of paper right here.
A real piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you about 5 different questions, something like that, and I want you to write down your answer.
Okay.
And then Jana will share her answer. And we'll see if they match.
Okay,
it's just going to be kind of like a matching.
Are we gonna do all 5 questions at once, or are you gonna do one at a time?
Let's do one at a time.
Let's
because
do one
I
at a
probably
time.
won't remember everybody's
Okay,
answers.
all right. So let's find some appropriate music here. Let's.
There you go.
All right. So Jana, can you? Hey, there's Jana.
There she is.
If you were watching on. Oh, yeah, I'm turning the wrong fader.
Yeah, I'm going to fade it down.
You got it.
It's on me. That's enough of that.
So if you're watching on Patreon, then that's my lovely bride right there. 22 years.
Hi, Jana.
Now, the great thing about this is we can see her, but she cannot see us. So
you can make faces, she will never know.
That's exactly right. So we're ready to do this, right?
Yeah, let's go. Okay.
All right, So
Steve.
Okay.
What adjective best describes you on your wedding day, how you were feeling on your wedding day?
On my wedding day?
Yeah, what best describes it? So write down your answer.
Okay.
And Jana, again, I'm going to repeat the question. What adjective best describes Steve on your wedding day?
Wow, this is tough.
Well, I wasn't going to go easy on you.
Let's see. I'm going to say...
Okay, so keep your answer right there.
I've got my answer right there. Jana can't see it because we don't have the two-way.
Jana, what would you say best described how Steve was feeling on the wedding day?
I think let's go for excited.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen.
Look right there.
Excited.
What does that say right there? What does that say right there? All right. All right, we're 1 for 1, babe.
Good job.
Awesome.
Okay, question number 2. What is the first thing Jana would buy if she won the lottery?
First thing.
If Jana won the lottery, you don't play the lottery, Jana, but this is hypothetical.
No. Yeah.
What is the first thing that you would buy if you won the lottery? Now, Steve, write down your answer.
Oh gosh. Okay. Are we talking? I mean, is it like a material thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that you can buy with money. Yes.
Well, I know.
That's what material means.
Well, I know what material means, but I mean, okay. All right, this is probably not going to be. We're probably not going to be on the same wavelength on this.
Okay, Jana, what would you buy if you won the lottery? What's the first thing you'd buy?
Well, I don't know how much the lottery is.
Oh, see, yeah, she wants to know how much money it is.
Too practical. I don't know. Sky's the limit. Nothing.
If it was enough, I would say a house.
A house? What did you write down?
For all 5 of us.
I said trip to Hawaii.
Oh.
I said trip to Hawaii.
Well, that would be next.
That would be next, is what she said. Yeah,
okay, I got you.
All right, so we're 1 for 1.
1 for
all
1.
Right, all right.
Okay.
Let's move on.
What is Steve's most repeated sentence or phrase? And Jana, answer this honestly. Do you find it irritating? So what is Steve's most repeated sentence or phrase? Like a catchphrase.
No, I don't.
I could name a few because you use quite a few around me.
She's having way too much fun. I don't know. Again, I don't know if we'll be on the same wavelength on this. All right, what do you got?
So, repeat the question again.
What is Steve's most repeated sentence or phrase, and do you find it irritating?
That I find irritating?
Yeah.
No, it's a secondary question.
Do you find it irritating, his sentence or phrase?
Okay, it keeps cutting out for some reason, so
oh no,
I'm hearing Steve's most used catchphrase.
Yes. Yeah.
And then secondarily, does that make you irritated when I say it?
Oh, I got you. Gosh, I don't know.
Come on, baby.
Did you write one down?
I did. I wrote it down.
He likes to say when there's no rules, there's chaos.
Well, I do say that a lot.
He does say that.
I said solutions oriented.
Oh, yeah.
I'm solutions oriented.
You do. That's your description of yourself, is that you're solutions oriented.
Are we gonna have to turn in our marriage license if we don't do well there on this?
That is the
All
penalty.
Right, so what's next?
Okay. If Jana was a character from the sitcom Friends, who would she be? If Jana was a character from the sitcom Friends, who would she be?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
Okay, Jana, who would you be on Friends?
I'm thinking Monica.
Bam!
Monica,
Monica, right there.
There you go.
Right there. I knew it. I knew it.
Nice. Okay, now this is a little bit more of a serious question.
Okay.
I
All right.
had to throw one in there.
Okay.
This is really for both of you, but let's just see if your answers match up. What do you think is the most important part of a marriage to keep it stable? To keep a marriage solid and good, what do you think you have to have?
Oh, all right.
Okay, Jana, do you have an answer?
Well, I was thinking too, communication, but also just being not unselfish.
Steve wrote down one.
I wrote down
Communication.
right there.
There you go.
We did awesome.
I'm very proud of you guys.
Dude, these were hard.
Well, I
These
couldn't go
things always
easy
make
on
me
you.
nervous.
Yeah,
You're among friends. You didn't need
you
to be
did
nervous.
great. You did great. I think this was really good. This
Well
was
done, Jana.
Yeah, and this was our first episode, and we got a Skype in it, and we
I'm
got my
proud
wife
of you
in
guys.
it. I know.
Yeah.
This
And
was
here's the
really
best part: you guys can remain married.
good.
That's the
Yeah,
best
right.
part of all of this.
We get another 22 years.
Yay!
Thank you, babe. Love you.
Bye, Jana.
Love you. Bye, Bethany.
Well, that was
done.
fun.
I'm
that
proud
was
of
fun.
you.
I really didn't think you were going to go that hard on those questions. Those
Like
were.
I told you, I
know.
wanted to get creative and difficult. We had to kind of do all of it.
Yeah, well, you did. You did really good. Because I thought you were going to come up with something like, "What is Jana's favorite color?"
Well,
or
that was
something
some
like
of the
that,
questions that I didn't come up with those questions. I
Yeah.
Googled them, but those were some of the questions.
No, those were good.
That was a little basic.
Those were really good. And before we get out of here today, we want to also bring you some news from the world.
Yeah.
And some things that are going on that just kind of make us scratch our heads sometimes, whether it be something silly and fun or something really kind of inspiring.
Well, yeah, I saw this on Facebook, and I'll pull it up here because I'm not going to be able to tell the story as well, just from memory. But I thought this was super cool. So this popped up on my news feed that this elderly man in Columbus, Ohio, is giving away farm fresh eggs for free. So
Aw.
he's lived on this land for 90-something years since.
Really?
Yeah, his family's owned it forever. But he started giving away eggs back before World War II started when he was a kid. Just in wartime, things were tough, so he started putting eggs on the side of the road just for free. He did it again in the Korean War, again in the Vietnam War, when our country went into the recession in 2008, and then again during the coronavirus, as grocery stores are kind of overwhelmed and some of them are having shortages on things like this. He said he wanted to do his part and provide farm fresh eggs for everybody.
Don't you love that?
I just think that's so cool.
Because how many times do we have situations like this that come along, like the coronavirus, and you look around, you feel overwhelmed, and you look around, and you think, well, what can I do? What can I? He's a farmer. I can give away some eggs. In the grand scheme of things, is that huge? Is that going to change somebody's life? Really? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is nice that somebody takes the time to do that.
Yeah, I think it's just everybody kind of doing what they can and providing a little. If anything, it made me smile. Like that's kind of the whole heart of this. Is it's just bringing a little bit of hope to somebody.
Yeah, and it kind of makes people still have hope in humanity.
Yeah,
you know
for
that
sure.
Because we see so much negative stuff. I mean, every time you turn on the television or open up your phone and you look at stuff, everybody's so divisive and everybody's
Fights
so
breaking out in Walmart.
and So
and,
and so now you've got
Craziness.
a nice old fella giving away eggs. That's
I like
great.
it.
Okay, now here's my story, and I
What are the chances of this, by the way, that we both came to work with a chicken story?
chicken stories. I know when you first said
Coincidence.
that was what you wanted to do, I was like, have I got the follow up story?
He said, "I got a chicken.
I
story
got a
too."
chicken story too. And this is okay. Let me give you a little background information. I have been burned so many times on the internet. Okay,
Yeah, you don't trust anything.
I don't really trust anything on the internet because how many times have you seen stories that turns out to be hoaxes?
Oh yeah,
you know?
all the time.
And they're just terrible. And some of them are so legit looking and sounding, and then you will look like a fool with the, to use what the guys does, an egg on your face.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So, see how I tied that together? That was really,
I saw that.
That's
good.
a professional broadcaster. And so I got to look at this, and I'm almost willing, like I said, I'm not a betting person, but I'm almost willing to bet my house on this, that this could not be real.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for those of you watching on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Steve and Bethany,
little drop there.
you can join us there for as low as $5 a month. Let's show this up here, Jarvis. Okay, see here? Look at this chicken.
That's a chicken?
Okay, now for those, yes, it's a chicken.
Well, that's a rooster.
Well, okay,
it's got the little
it's
thing.
a rooster. Okay, it's a rooster, but it's giant. Okay, look, for those of you listening audio only, here's the scene. It's an outdoor scene. Man in a chicken yard. He's surrounded by chickens pecking the ground, and he's holding in his hands the size of like an outdoor dog,
that's
like
the size of a golden retriever.
That's what I was thinking too, like a golden retriever
that
size.
Is huge.
It's a chicken. Now that can't be. That cannot be real, right?
I don't understand how animals can be that big when they're not this breaks the laws of nature, in my opinion. I don't think. Look how long. Yeah, the claws go down to like the middle of his thigh.
This guy's probably, I'm gonna think, 5'10" maybe or so.
Yeah, average size guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's holding this rooster
That
at
chicken,
his chest, and the feet are at his knees.
It's got to weigh, what would you say, like upwards of 30 pounds?
So can it be real? It can't.
I don't know.
Now,
but look at these guys in the background. The other chickens walking around, like they've got more feathers than the average chicken. So how much of this is just feather, and how like what's the actual chicken
but
size?
that thing there could feed that thing could feed your entire. When you get everybody
The
moved into
entire
your house,
family.
that one chicken could feed the entire family
for months.
Yes,
months off that. That's I don't know.
I don't think that's real. But
I don't know.
now I will say this: I threw it out on the internet, and to some of my friends. And they say that it's a Brahma chicken. You've heard of Brahma bulls.
Brahma?
Yeah, you've heard of Brahma bulls, right? Those are the big dude bulls.
Brahma chickens?
But that's what. Now, see, I don't see, and even that makes me suspicious. Brahma chickens. Come on, that's not real.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. Let's Google it. How do you spell that? Brahma?
BRAH.
AH?
Yeah, AMA maybe.
I got it. Brahma chicken. Okay.
Is that for real?
Yeah. Chicken breed. That's what it says.
That's unbelievable.
Let's see. Egg production annually is 150.
150 eggs.
Yeah.
Those things must be huge.
It says
they must be the size of tires.
It said its temperament is calm. So it seems like a good...
well, it better be, or it would take over.
That seems like maybe a good family pet. I don't know. Calm temperament.
Gosh.
Get some eggs out of it.
Gosh. Okay, for those of you, we'd love to know your comments. I hate to sound like that guy.
But
seriously, for those of you who watched the video, you've seen the chicken.
You see how big we're talking about here.
Yeah. Is that real?
Come on. I'm gonna say it is because Google said so. I'm gonna say yes. Where are you at?
I'm going. I can't. I would like to see video of this. I think a video would make me happy.
Yeah, I want to meet one. Honestly, if we can ever arrange it to have a Brahma chicken come
here in the studio, it would swallow you whole.
It probably would, but I would stay at a safe distance. If we can ever arrange it for a Brahma chicken handler to come into the studio,
it would have to be.
I would like it.
It would have to be a handler. It would have to be. I mean, a wrangler. You'd have to have somebody to wrangle the thing. It's like a like one of those big live animals, that like the tigers and the bears and the lions.
Along the same lessons.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, that pretty much wraps up what we're going to be doing here on our Hopecast this very first episode, our maiden voyage.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
I like it. I wouldn't have called it a maiden voyage, but okay.
Well, and we've mentioned a couple of times our patreon.com/Steve and Bethany.
There you go.
You can join us for as little as $5 a month,
right,
and you could get the video feed of this. We do, and look, Jarvis over there takes care of us. I mean, this is not
his real name, by the way. But
this is not just a standard one-camera shoot where it's just like right at your face all the time. We have a multi-camera shoot. We've got this great set that he's provided for us and everything.
It's awesome.
He does fantastic. Low as $5 a month. But If you want to make it a little bit more than $5 a month, you want to go 15, we got a really nice tier.
Right. So the $15 tier on patreon.com, you get this very nice piece of artwork that we are showing the camera right now.
It's hand-painted.
Hand-painted by Jana. Jana is going to make all these for all the new members of Patreon, just as a little welcome gift. And then also you're going to get our entire program ad-free, so you don't have to deal with any of the little drop-ins that we might do throughout the program. Lots of fun things, like we said, about the video broadcast. You get that as well. So we have the multi-cameras. It's nice stuff. The
T-shirt. Don't forget about the T-shirt. We're going to have an exclusive Steve and Bethany Hopecast T-shirt for you. And get this. We're going to do customized video shout-outs.
Right.
So, like, when we were...
Oh, and you also get the podcast early.
Yes.
We forgot about that.
That's
right. You get the podcast early.
That's right. The customized video shout-outs are... We used to do a thing when we worked in radio together where we did... we called it the wake-up call, where we had... we just said good morning to kids on their way to school.
Right.
And it was really cool. They really enjoyed it. And then sometimes the parents would say, hey, can you say happy birthday to them? So, whether it's birthdays or have a great school day or whatever you've got. Or, hey... Even if it's a negative, even it's like, hey, get your AMI work done. We'll do that too, right?
That too, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then if that wasn't enough, the one extra cherry on top, we're going to have virtual coffee houses.
Right. So the virtual coffee house is kind of our way of just hanging out, especially during all of this Corona stuff going on where we can't actually meet and have coffee together. It's our way of connecting with you, getting to know you a little bit better, asking questions, talking about life. Steve will be drinking Diet Coke as he does not drink coffee.
That's exactly right.
Other than that, it'll just be just like hanging out at Starbucks or something.
And it's at patreon.com/Steve and Bethany. Get all the details there. Sign up. We would love for you to join us on that. And we're looking forward to that. Plus, by the time this airs, our website will be launched and ready to go.
SteveandBethany.com. There we go.
Absolutely. So we're going to have all kinds of stuff there. Merch is going to be there. We're going to sign up for newsletters.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff there.
And blogs. We'll have blogs. We'll do all kinds of stuff.
We don't know really what we're doing.
Exactly.
We're still figuring this out.
Yeah, we're throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks. But let's just be honest. This is transparent. This is what we're doing. So join us on SteveandBethany.com too, because it will be fun. And before we get out of here, before we say goodbye, adieu, and so long, we'll see you next week. We got one piece of business left.
What is that?
Today is Jarvis's birthday.
How old are you today, Jarvis?
27 years old. He is the best.
Honestly, like, the reason that we can even turn the mics on is because of Jarvis, because we don't know how to. So he's customized all the lighting that you see back here for the video viewers. We have all of the equipment here. It's all his. He's set everything up and has worked so hard.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this one question before we get out. When I turned 27, that's one of the first times I ever felt like I felt older from one year to the next. What was your impressions of being 27? Really?
Same.
Really? You know who else said that too? Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman said that one time. So me and you and Troy Aikman. We're basically the same. We're all the same person.
And I'll let you know once I turn 27.
Okay, you'll do that. All right, so is there anything else we need to plug? Anything else we need to do?
I don't think so. That ought to do it.
I think so too. All right, so that does it. Our first full real life episode is done.
I'm proud of you. This is good.
I'm proud of you too. I think we did well.
We'll see what else we can come up with for next week.
Good night, Olive Branch.